Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to your classes, Business Corresponding and Reporting. I hope you all are in your good health, you are staying safe, you are taking the most from these classes, and you're doing very well. So, before I begin with today's class, I am going to take you a little back to the last class that we had. And I will be picking up some things from that class, the things and the topics that were not clear for you guys. So I will be repeating it quickly here and I will be clearing your doubts. I am just waiting everybody to join in. And I can see already 2-3 kids are there who have just responded by saying that, they have some doubts from the last class. Quickly, some rules for this class. You should please have your notebook, pen, pencil in your hand and your ICAI course material in your hand because I will be referring to your course material today a lot. So you should have that with you. You should have your pen and pencil with you. Today's class is going to be very important because whatever I'm going to do it today, so basically I will be dealing with types of sentences and active passive voice. And these things are going to help you in your business communication a lot. You should listen to this class very carefully. Like I said in the last class also, this entire course or this entire subject is not about just 40 marks paper, right? There are things that will not come in your exams. There are things that we will not even ask in your exams. But you should know about everything if you want to improve your language, right? So you should know about all the components, you should know about all the structures, you should know about how the grammar works, right? So, and there were many students who asked me about what is going to be the structure of the paper, what is going to be the weightage of their topics, and which topic will be there and which topic will be not there in your exams. We will discuss that towards the end. So whenever I am finishing this chapter 2, at that time I will be discussing about your paper. Right now, your focus should be understanding the concepts, whatever I'm explaining. You should be ready to learn all of that first, okay? Exam, questions, weightage, we'll discuss later. That is not our concern right now. Our concern is to understand all the concepts, right? All right. So there were many students who had problems with participle and gerunds, right? I understand we did quite in rush. So you guys did not understand what exactly is participle and gerunds and how they are different from each other. Since in both the cases we have ing in the end, right? But how they function differently and how do we figure out if this is a participle or is this a gerund? Okay, so I will be very quickly discussing this without wasting time. Somebody is saying that your video is not visible. Latika, can you please check your internet once? Is there anyone else who's facing the same problem? Please look at your screens. I am sharing a slide with you that will clarify what is the difference between participle and gerund. Okay. Can you see the PPT? Okay, look at the first example. It says, the singing parrot became the center of attraction at the gathering. Can you look at the examples here? Right, so singing parrot became the center of attraction at the gathering. Here, if you look at the word singing, of course, sing became singing after adding ing. So our main verb is sing, and we added ing to make it a singing here, right? Here, singing is basically explaining or describing something about parrot here to us. Yes, we get to know something about the parrot, that the parrot is singing, right? So the singing word here is describing parrot, right? And the words who describe nouns are called, the words that describe nouns are called, what are they called? Right, I am sure you already have answered in your mind. So they are called adjectives. So here, this verb with ing is acting as a adjective here. Acting as an adjective here to the noun parrot. Right? Can you look at in your PPT? Yes? Right? So look at the next one again. The wounded soldier showed the courage to guard the post overnight. Okay? Now this word here, wounded. This was the word, okay, and we added ed here to make it wounded, right? Now this soldier, this word is describing soldier here to us, right? We get to know something more about soldier. We get to know about the condition of the soldier here, right? So, again, this word is acting as an adjective here, right? Now, these two words, singing and wounded, are participles. So, participles are the verbs with ed or ing, but they act as an adjective in the sentence. They are called participles. Yes? Clear? All clear? Okay, coming on to grounds here. Grounds, look at the other two sentences. Johnny likes eating pastries. Johnny likes eating pastries. Right? Next here is, in some countries, drinking is in public places is prohibited. Right? In both cases, if you pick the ing words, eating and drinking here, right? Both have ing, both are verbs. But here in these sentences, they are somewhere acting like a noun. Okay? Drinking in public places is prohibited. Prohibited is the main verb here, right? And drinking becomes a noun here, right? So grounds are basically verbs with ing that act as a noun. So this is the major difference. In participles, these verbs act as adjectives to the nouns. They modify the nouns. But in grounds, they act as a noun on its own. Somebody asked me that, is it necessary that grounds are always in the beginning of the sentence? No. As you see in Johnny likes eating pastries, it is in the middle. It can be anywhere. Right? It can be anywhere. I hope this is clear to you guys. Now the whatever confusion was there, it's clarified. Okay. So, all clear. Now, there are no more doubts. So, I am assuming that you are clear with this concept. First of all. Second concept that was unclear to you guys was transitive and intransitive verb. Now, here, this was very easy, very easy. I don't know why it was not clear, but nevertheless, transitive verbs are those verbs who needs the object to complete their meaning. right? Transitive verbs are those verbs who need an object to complete the meaning. Alone, a subject and verb is not enough in this case, right? But in transitive case, the subject and verb is more than enough, right? We get the entire meaning. Everything is clear to us, even if the object is not there in the sentence, right? Please, before I proceed, note this, and I'm sure you have understood this from our previous class, that a basic structure of a sentence is subject plus verb plus object, right? In a sentence, if you look at a clause also, we have a subject, we have a verb, and we have an object, and that is enough to make a sentence, that is enough to complete a meaning, right, within a sentence. So this is a basic structure of a sentence, right? And we usually play around this structure again and again, but this is the basic structure. Okay? So in case of transitive, we need this structure. If the object is not there, then the meaning is not complete, right? But in transitive case, subject plus verb is more than enough to complete its meaning, right? Am I clear? Okay. Let's look at the example here. Very easy. I'm not going to get into very technical or complex examples here. What I'm trying to do here is that you get the meaning of these types of verbs, right? So I will be using very basic verbs and sentences here. If in transitive case I say, I eat. Okay. Do you think this completes the meaning? No, right? You need something to be there that supports or that completes the meaning of this phrase here, right? I eat apples. I eat mango. I eat chocolate. Anything. You need to add an object here to complete the meaning, right? In this case, if I say, the baby is crying, right? The baby is crying, right? We have a subject here, we have a verb here, right? This is enough. We don't need an object here. We don't want to know anything further. This in itself is a complete meaning here. The baby is crying, right? So no object is required here. So in this case, crying becomes an intransitive verb. In this case, eat becomes a transitive verb, right? Okay, so every time you want to find out transitive and intransitive, please read the sentences carefully. Information, whatever is mentioned in the sentence or not, or things would have been clear with the similar kind of a thing that I gave you in the PPT in the last class, right? So this is how you find out transitive, intransitive. You look at the verb and think about it, that is this verb enough to understand the meaning? If I say I slept, okay, I slept or I am sleeping, this is enough. I don't need to explain it more. If somebody is sleeping, somebody is sleeping. We don't need any more explanation around it, right? I hope again this is clarified, okay? Now you understand what transitive and intransitive verb is. Next doubt that you had was in okay, now direct and indirect object. Okay. Now again, this is very easy. You just need to look at that the verb is focusing on what in the entire sentence, right? So when you question, say like this, look at this example. Lot of people had problems with this sentence also, so I am taking the same example. Sari will help you with the housework, right? I asked you, if you want to find out the answer, what is the direct object? So you have to look for the answer for what in the sentence. What will you help with? Housework. Who will you help? You. Right? So, you have to question the verb. The question, the answer to your what is the direct object. The answer to your who and whom is the indirect object. Clear? Yes? I hope this is clear now. I will be taking one more example so that it's clear even more. And this example, you guys are supposed to solve it for me. You will be responding. So look at the sentence very carefully. Ria makes pasta for dinner. Ria makes pasta for dinner. Quickly tell me which is the direct object and which is the indirect object in the sentence. Is there anyone who can answer? Okay, so I'll answer here. In this sentence, Ria makes pasta for dinner. What did she make? What is she making? Pasta. So is pasta direct or indirect here? Pasta is direct here. Right? And dinner becomes a indirect here. Is it clear here? Yes. So make is basically the answer to your make. What is she making? Is pasta. That becomes a dinner. Clear? Okay. And why is she making? She is making for the dinner here. Right? Okay. So can we move ahead now with the today's class? I hope I have clarified your doubts from your previous class. Okay. One topic that we left last time was of complement. Now, what is a complement in a sentence? Right? Complement is basically the added information that modifies or that gives you a little more information about something. Maybe it can be about noun, it can be about verb, it can be about anything. Right? So whatever there is extra information, we call it complement. Right? That gives you additional information. Okay? Ashok, yes, pasta is direct. Good. Okay, most of you have got it right, so I'm very glad to see that. Good, very good. Most of you got it, so now I know the direct object and indirect object is clear. Okay, quickly, coming back to today's class now. Complement. So complement is basically if some words or phrase is giving you some extra information in a sentence. Right. Now, here it can be explaining subject, it can be explaining object, and it can be explaining a verb. Coming back to this, what is the basic structure of a sentence is subject, verb, Object. Okay, subject, verb, object. Right? So complement can be giving information about subject. Right? It can be giving information about verb. It can be giving us information about object. Right? This is very easy. So please don't confuse yourself. Just listen to me carefully. Okay? If I say, Mr. is a CA. Mr. Gupta is a CA. Right? So, if you look at this, a CA, CA is more information about what in this entire sentence? We are getting some more information about the subject in our sentence. Right? Yes. Mr. Gupta is a CA. So CA is the more explanation about Mr. Gupta here, and Mr. Gupta is our subject here, right? So this becomes our subject complement. Because this additional information is about Mr. Gupta, and Mr. Gupta is our subject. Okay? Yes? If I say, the baby is beautiful. Right? Now here, beautiful is telling us more about the baby. Right? It is modifying our subject here. Right? So when I use the word modify, please note this. Modify means something is enhancing the word, right? So modify is that somebody is adding more information or enhancing, or giving us more information about, right? So baby is beautiful, right? And beautiful is explaining us more about the baby. So this becomes who is going to answer this? This becomes what? This becomes what? Quickly write it down in your comment sections. So we cannot say this as complement is like adjective. Yeah. Yes, adjective can be a complement, but complement complement cannot be every time an adjective. Okay, please note this. Right, good you asked this question. Okay, so the baby, this becomes a subject complement here. Right? Okay, now, here. We will be taking up another example here. I like the informative lecture. Right? Can you look at the sentence? Can you all read this? I like the informative lecture. Right? Right. So here, if you look, I is the subject here, like is the verb here, right? So this together is a object here, the informative lecture. Yes, I like what? I like the informative lecture, right? Now, who is this? Which word is describing or which word is modifying the word lecture? Which word is telling us more about the lecture here? This. Informative. Right? So this informative is telling us more about the object. This becomes an object complement. What does it become? It becomes an object complement here. Fine? Okay. Last and very quickly, children are singing loudly. The children are singing loudly, right? So here we have a subject, we have our verb, and we have our, this one word here in the end, loudly, is modifying and telling us something more about singing. So how are children singing? Loudly, right? So now this loudly is not describing us about the children. Loudly is telling us more about how they are singing. It is modifying a verb here. It is telling us more about a verb here, right? So this becomes a verb complement. Okay? Right. Can we move ahead now? Okay. Let's look at our next topic. This topic is pretty interesting. I want you to look at your PPT slide here, and then I will be taking it further. Now we will be talking about types of sentences. Now we have understood enough about what are the structures of sentences and what are the components of sentences, what all is there. We have understood about all of that for now. But now we will be discussing about the types of sentences, how sentences are different from each other. Have you ever realized that in a day, in a time span of one day, we speak many sentences? Like, we just keep speaking. I don't know how many sentences I have spoken in last 28 minutes so far, right? There's so many words that you say, there's so many sentences you say. Every sentence has a different meaning. Every sentence has a different expression. Every sentence is trying to convey something new to you, right? There can be a sentence that is asking a question. There is a sentence that is just telling you something. There is a sentence that could be positive or negative. I can say, I don't want to eat, right? If somebody is asking you, would you like to eat this? Now somebody is asking me a question. Now I am responding in a negative sentence and say that I don't want to eat, right? So every sentence has a different meaning, different expression, different, whatever they're trying to convey is different, right? Different emotion here, right? And somewhere the structure will differ a little bit, right? There will be a difference in structures, right? That structure we are going to that structure we are going to understand right now. But before that, I want you to look at this sentence and in your mind, please, and just read it in your heart and tell me how these sentences are different from each other. And if you could just tell me how they are different from each other in structure. Yeah. So there are 4 sentences in front of you, right? And all 4 sentences are different from each other. You have to tell me how are they different from each other, right? In terms of structure, what difference do you note, right? And in terms of expression, how they are different, right? I will be discussing them. I'm just giving you 30 seconds to go through all the 4 sentences. I like to ride a bicycle. Do you like to ride a bicycle? Don't ride the bicycle too fast. What a beautiful bicycle. Right? So, can we have the slide to 50-50? Can we have the page to 50-50 now? Okay. So, did you notice a difference between all the 4 sentences? There is one sentence that is giving you an information. There is one sentence that is asking a question. There is one sentence that is kind of giving an order or a command. There is one sentence that is telling you about how a person feels about a bicycle, how this feeling is exaggerated or this expression is expressed in words, right? So there are 4 sentences in front of you. Now, each sentence have a different structure. Yes, all 4 sentences start from a capital letter. Every sentence starts from a capital letter. Please remember this, right? After a full stop, after a question mark, after a exclamatory mark, any sentence that you start that starts with a capital letter, right? Okay. But if you look at the end, there are 2 sentences that are ending with a full stop. There is one sentence that is ending with a question mark. There is one sentence that is ending with an exclamatory mark. I hope you notice this difference. Yes? Right. Okay. So, these 4, the sentences that I am going to tell you now is based on the structure, that how they are different from each other in terms of structure. Okay. Look at the next slide. Now, so there are 4 types of sentences here. One is called declarative. One is called imperative. Third one is called interrogative. And 4th one is called exclamatory sentence. We will start from a declarative sentence. Right? Okay, over to the board. I hope you have noticed the names of the types of the sentences. That is declarative sentence, imperative sentence, interrogative sentence, and exclamatory sentence. Right? I will take you back to the slide once again, but for now I want you to look at the board. Okay. So we will be starting with declarative sentence. Declarative sentence basically gives you a information, right? Declarative sentences are those sentences that are mere statements, right? It can express opinions, it can express views, but it is a sentence that is giving you an information, right? Okay, nothing else. There is no question asked, there is no command given, there is not somebody telling you about exaggerated feeling that, oh my God, I felt this, right? So, declarative sentence, let's look at the example here. Ram went to the school. Okay. Now this one sentence is just giving us information about Ram, that Ram went to the school. Okay. It's a simple sentence, right? That is simply telling us about that Ram went to school, right? Now, first thing first, please note the structure here. R is capital here. Yes, we ended the sentence with a full stop, or we call full stop as period. Okay. So, Ram went to the school. Simple sentence, right? Okay. There could be one more sentence here. Ram did go to the school. Ram didn't go to the school. This is again a declarative sentence because this is giving us information about that Ram did not go to school. Okay. Again, this is the one piece of information that we know about Ram. As a not, in between, cannot, did not, is not, am not. So declarative sentences can be positive or negative, right? As long as they are just giving us information, we are just concerned with that and we call it a declarative sentence. The word declarative is very interesting again because declarative sentences is quite self-explanatory. to declare something, to say something, right? Okay. Are we clear till here? Right? I don't think there is I don't think there would be any confusion. Right? Can I move ahead? Now, I am going to just quickly tell you about what all is included in declarative sentences. What all types of sentences more can be, kinds of sentences can be included into declarative sentence. Right? A sentence that is giving us a simple statement, declaration, I have already told you. Right? Now, something about universal truth or a fact, like the sun rises in the east. Right? It's a fact. The sun rises in the east. This happens every morning. Yes, this has not changed ever. I hope you have never seen sun rising from west. I hope not. Okay, sun rises in the east. Okay. This is a fact. This never changes. This is again a declarative sentence. Right? Any proverb or any idiom is again a declarative sentence because again they do not change. If I say all good things come to an end. Okay. All good things come to an end. Right? This is again a proverb. Again, this will never change. So this has some certain meaning to it that has been carried forward from generation to generation. Across the globe, everybody understands this proverb. All good things come to an end. Again, this is a declarative sentence. Right? One thing I told you in the beginning, opinion and views. Right? If I say, for my last summer vacation, I went to Ireland. Okay. I given you information that last summer, I went to Ireland. Now, if I say, I did not like Ireland much, right? I did not enjoy exploring the island much, right? One is this, that this is a negative sentence, of course. Second is, this is my view and my opinion, right? Right? Everybody can have their opinion. There might be people who must have loved Ireland. I did not like it, so I'm just expressing my view here. Right? These are also declarative sentences because in the end, they are also somewhere giving us information. They are just making a statement. Right? Right? Are we clear about declarative sentence? Okay. Now let's move on to interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences, again, just like declarative, if you notice the word interrogative, what does interrogative mean? What does interrogation mean? Interrogation or interrogative means asking questions. You know, police interrogates, CBI interrogates, right? So what do? They ask questions, right? So please remember, interrogative sentences are those sentences that asks questions, right? Right? This is the most simple type of sentence. And you will not even find it difficult to find out which is the interrogative sentence out of all sentences given to you. Any sentence that ends with a question mark becomes an interrogative sentence, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? Now this is a question. Yes, the sentence is just asking a question. Again, the sentence starts from a capital letter and ends with a question mark. Right? So, in your question sentences, right, the question words, you know what are question words? Yes, mostly the WH words. What, why, who, whom, these are all question words, right? And we have questions starting from do, does, has, have also, right? So any question that ends with a question mark or any statement that ends with a question mark becomes an interrogative sentence, right? Okay. Moving on to the imperative sentences. Again, my favorite ones, and you should please listen to this very carefully. Along with whatever I've told you about your business communication and everything, it is also very important to understand that how the sentences structure and function, because at times what happens is that if your sentence construction or if your sentence framing is not correct, the other person, the listener who's listening to you, might not get the meaning or might not get the message that you're trying to convey. You know what I mean? Okay, just an example. There might be a time when your suggestion or your just advice can be taken as a very rude or might not be taken it very well because your sentence framing was not correct. Right? And at times there is a time your polite message will be taken as rude, or maybe the other person does not understand how serious the situation is and how much you want somebody to do it because your sentence was not conveying the urgency here. Right? Okay. The imperative sentences, the sentences that you will be mostly using in your personal and your professional life. Right? Imperative sentences are those sentences that express order, command, advice, request, permission. So imperative sentences are those sentences that will be explaining or expressing order, advice, permission, request, all of that. Okay? Clear? Yes? Okay. So if I say, please leave me alone, right? Because I've added the word please here, this becomes a polite request. Please leave me alone. If I say leave me alone, this is kind of a command, an order, just leave me alone, right? Now, you know what I mean, right? If I tell someone leave me alone and I want to say it very politely, right? But somebody might take it as a very rude that I am asking somebody to just get out. Right? So, but if I add please here, please leave me alone. That makes it polite, right? This makes it a request, right? If I say, bring me a glass of water, please bring me a glass of water. Or could you please bring me a glass of water? These things makes a difference here. This makes the entire sentence polite. This changes the entire tone of the sentence here, right? Now, when you are speaking it, it's about words and there is somewhere about expressions and your tone also. But think about it when you're writing it. The other person is not looking at you. The other person is not listening you. So when you're writing it, that is a time when people can consider you wrong here. Or you might not be able to convey your message or meaning or the tone that you're trying to express. Right? Maybe you want to be polite to someone, right? Maybe you're polite to your teammates, right? Maybe you want to be polite to your people at home. But if your sentence, like I just told you, if I say, come to my cabin. Please come to my cabin. Could you please come to my cabin for 5 minutes? Right? Again, everything changes. Everything changes. Right? If I tell someone, you should respect your parents, right? I'm telling you an obligation, right? I am telling you that you should respect your parents. If I say respect your parents, command. It's a command. Right? If I say you should respect your parents, it's a little politer. Instead of saying respect your parents, it can be taken it anyway. Right? Are we clear about imperative sentences? Now, there is something very tricky and catchy here. Imperative sentences ends with full stop. Correct. Right? That we have already seen in our example here. But imperative sentences can also end with an exclamatory mark. Okay? Yes. Now, how do we identify that if it's an imperative sentence and if there is going to be another kind of sentence that I am going to teach you next? Right? So I will tell you how to differentiate between an imperative sentence and exclamatory sentence. Now, exclamatory sentence, again, as the name suggests, ends with exclamation, right? And exclamatory sentences are those sentences that express your emotions in an exaggerated way, right? If I say, oh my God, it's raining cats and dogs, right? I am amazed that, oh my God, it's raining so heavily, right? This is so good. I am excited. This is disgusting, right? These are all exclamatory sentences, right? But if I tell someone, get out of the room, this is an imperative sentence with an exclamatory mark, right? Because I'm commanding someone with an exaggerated expression. Exaggerate, you understand the word exaggerated, right? If you are feeling this, right? And if I'm expressing this, like, this much, right? This is called exaggeration of emotions, right? So, imperative sentence, like I just told you, you can tell someone, please leave the room, right? Please go out from here, right? And I can shout at someone and say, just go from here, right? These are all exclamatory. They are called imperative sentences with exclamatory mark. Am I clear here? Am I clear till here, guys? Okay. Now, I am going to show you a PPT slide very quickly, and there will be all the sentences kind of mixed. You have to tell me which is what, like which is declarative, which is imperative, which is interrogative, and which is exclamatory. Okay, the PPT is here. Okay, can you all see the PPT? Yes, I will give you 1 or maybe 2 minutes. Just go through all the sentences and tell me which is what. Right? Okay. And then we will be discussing this. You have to tell me which is declarative sentence, which is imperative, which is interrogative, and which is exclamatory sentence. You can write your answers in the comment section as well. For declarative, you can use D. For imperative, you can use I am. For interrogative, you can use IN. And for exclamatory, you can use EX, just to make it simple for you guys to write quickly. Okay, can we start discussing? I hope you all are done. Okay, the first sentence. Will you wait here for me? It's a very easy one. It's an interrogative sentence because this sentence has a question mark in the end. It is asking a question and that is all. So this is interrogative sentence. Please leave your footwear outside. Right? This is a request, right? So this makes it an imperative sentence. I'm so excited. Right? This is how you read it, right? I'm so excited. Or this is how you say it. Because this has an exclamatory mark in the end. This is the expression of the sentence. Right? So this becomes an exclamatory sentence. Where have you been all this while? Question, starting from a question word, ending with a question mark. This becomes an interrogative sentence. We will not tolerate this, right? This is somebody's view and this is somebody's opinion that, I will not tolerate this. So this becomes a declarative sentence here, right? My sister lives in Mexico. Again, information, a simple statement. So this becomes a declarative sentence. Do be a bit more careful. Right? I am advising someone, with authoritative tone, right? So this becomes an imperative sentence. The ball rolled slowly into the goal. Declarative sentence, very easygoing. It's just telling you something information. I don't believe that you said that. Right? Expression. Right? And there's an exaggerated, hush, hush, hush. I don't believe you said that. Right? Maybe, I don't believe you said that. So anything, just telling you because there's an exclamatory mark, there's an exaggeration of expression here. Right? Okay, I hope this part of the sentence is clear to you. Right? This was very easy, very, very easy. I don't think we have left anything here. And it was pretty much easy. Okay, I will be taking 5 minutes break at 12 o'clock, right? But before that, let me introduce you to another types of sentences that is based on function. Remember, I used the word structure, right? So now I will be telling you sentences that are different from each other on the basis of function. Yes? Okay. So the first one is, you can look at here in the ball, that blue ball, okay. Okay, I'm so sorry. This one is based on structure here. Yes, and that was function because, everybody has a different function here. Right, I correct myself. Okay, so this one is based on the structure because the structure of formation is totally different here. The first one is called simple. The second one is called compound. The third one is called complex. And the fourth one is called compound complex sentence here. Okay, right? Now if you look at here, the simple sentence just has a subject and the verb here. Right? Compound sentences has two independent clauses here, right? Complex sentence has one independent clause and one or more dependent clause here, right? And in the fourth one, we have two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Okay. Now, let's look at the simple sentence here first. The simple sentence is simple. Again, it does not have more clauses. It doesn't have more phrases attached to it. It is a simple one sentence that completes the meaning, right? I like to travel during my summer vacations. One sentence, complete simple sentence, right? I like to eat pasta. Ria is coming home for dinner. These are all simple sentences here. Okay. Compound sentence, if you look at the example, says, they spoke to him in Spanish, but he responded in English. Right? Now, there are two independent There are two separate sentences, but they are joined with conjunctions here. Right? What is a conjunction here? Right? I am late for my destination because I am still stuck in the traffic. Right? There are two independent sentences here. I am late to reach to my destination is one sentence. The other sentence says that I am still stuck in the traffic. But I have joined two independent clauses using the conjunction as because. Clear? Am I clear here? Compound. I am just acquainting you with all these types of sentences. We will discuss this further in details when we come back from our break. Complex sentence. Complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Right? That sentence cannot survive alone. That will not make sense alone. If you look at the example, it says, after eating lunch at the cheesecake factory, Tim went to the gym to exercise. Right? After eating lunch at cheese factory. Now, this one, can you think, tell me if this thing can survive alone? No. After eating lunch at cheese factory does not complete the meaning. So this is the dependent clause. Right? They went to the gym to exercise is a main clause here. It completes its meaning on its own. Right? Compound complex sentence here. Right? There are two independent clauses and they are joined by at least one dependent clause here. The man believed in the system and he knew that justice would prevail after the murderer was sent to the jail. Right? The man believed in the system is one independent clause. Right? He knew that justice would prevail is another independent clause. After the murderer was sent to jail is a dependent clause because it does not make sense alone here. Right? Right? Are we clear till here? Yes? Okay. I have 3 minutes left. I would like to take first your doubts before going and then coming back again and quickly start with the description of this in details. Alright? Can we do that quickly? Rajiv Jain, please give me one example of imperative sentence that ends with exclamatory mark. Right? Anything exaggerated says. If I say, get out, please bring the files. Right? Anything, bring in the files. Right? This is the imperative sentence. Right? Because emotion is exaggerated here. I might be angry or I might be in hurry. Right? Bring me a glass of water. Can you come here quickly? Right? These are all imperative sentences. Yes, like I told you, adjective is also can be a complement, but complement is not necessary to be adjective every time. Imperative sentences are those sentences that tells you about, that expresses opinion, view, order, or command. Okay. I think many of you have got all correct. The exercise that I gave you. If you got all correct, please write in your comments that all correct so that I know it was all correct. And I'm super glad to see your responses that most of you have responded and most of you have tried to solve that exercise. Imperative sentences and exclamatory sentences. Imperative sentences tells you or expresses command, order, advice. Exclamatory sentences is a simple sentence that is just conveying your exaggerated emotion, your wonder, your joy, anger, sorrow, everything. Okay? No, in declarative we are not having advice and suggestion. Now, so whenever it is an advice or suggestion, it becomes an imperative sentence. Yes, declarative sentences are similar like truth. Declarative sentences also include idioms. Declarative sentences can be positive and negative. I said that. I repeated that again and again. Okay, great. So I will take 5 minutes break and I will be back at 12:05 now. Sir, break लेंगे. I hope you guys are back. Okay, I want you to look at your course material 2.9 page number. There, if you look at there, it's mentioned classification of sentences according to structure, and then there is mentioned there are 4 types of functions, sentences based on function. Please correct function to structure here. I will also inform ICAI about this. So there is maybe some typo error or something here. So this is based on structure, not function. Simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentences, and complex compound sentences are based on function, structure. Right? Declarative sentence, imperative sentence, interrogative sentence, and exclamative sentence is based on function. Okay? You can look it here also if you want. Can you look at here? Yes, this is already there in your PPTs that you must have downloaded from your last class. So, structure is simple, compound, complex, complex compound, and you must have noticed it also. Declarative, interrogative, imperative, exclamatory, right? There is of course a structural difference, but the function is different. What they're trying to convey is different to us, right? And in simple, compound, complex, and sentences, these sentences will be different structure, right? Okay. Can you also look at the board also side by side? Yes? Okay. So can we have the screen to 50-50? Okay, I am taking the example, I'm going to start from simple sentences right now. Okay. Simple sentence is simple. A simple sentence that has subject, verb, and object, right? There is no subordinating conjunctions or there are no conjunctions here as such. They are not 2-3 clauses together. One simple sentence, right? With one single thought. When I say one single thought means I am driving a car, right? This is one single thought here. I am driving the car, right? One plain single thought, right? There is nothing else here. Simple. There is one subject here. There is a one verb here. There is an object here, right? Okay. Now, if I add here, now let's make it a compound. Let's make it a compound sentence here. How will you do it? Right? Can you add comma first here? Right? Can you tell me or maybe you suggest me which subordinating or which conjunction should I use here? Yes? Okay. Let me add and here. I am driving a car and I will reach the destination in 5 minutes. Now, this is one sentence here for you. There's one compound sentence here for you. I am driving a car and I will reach the destination in 5 minutes. Right? Now, how this is compound and how do you check if the sentence is compound or not? Can I make 2 sentences out of these without changing anything or without rephrasing much here? Right? So the first sentence here would be, I am driving a car. This is one independent clause here, one independent sentence here. Right? Now, if I remove and from here and if I remove comma from here, if I add full stop here, right? So this becomes another sentence here, right? I did not have to change the sentence, right? So this is the compound sentence. So compound sentence is comprises of 2 independent clauses that are joined together using conjunctions. Remember, I told you in your last class, the conjunctions are the joining words. Right? By joining words, I mean and, or, but, yet, because. Anything. Right? Am I clear here? Right? Okay. Okay. The next one, complex sentences. The complex sentences has one independent clause that is joined by one or more dependent clause here. Right? So how will we do it? I will leave from home when my mother reaches. Okay. Now here, if you look at here, I will leave from home, right, when my mother reaches. Right? So what I'm trying to convey here is that I will leave from home when my mom will reach home. Right? We all get this, right? But there is one independent clause here and there is one dependent clause here. The independent is I will leave from home. Okay, fine. I will leave from home. The dependent one is when my mother reaches. When my mother reaches what? Right? Because I have a when here. What will happen when my mother reach? What will happen when my mother reach home? I will leave from home. Right? So this is a complex sentence here. Right? And this complex sentence is joined by subordinating conjunction, that is when here. Clear? Or a relative pronoun here. Right? So either of the two has to be here to join the sentences together. Clear? Yes? Right? Okay. If you're not able to look at the board, I will just stop the screen sharing for now so that you can look at the board carefully. So, have you understood this example? Yes? Okay. Do you want another example here? Oh. Chef prepared food, yet no one came. Okay. Chef prepared food, yet no one came. Yes. Here, chef prepared food is enough. One clause. Yes. Yet no one came. If I break the sentence, can this thing make sense? No one came. Where no one, what to do with no one came here? Right? So this is a dependent clause here. This will make sense only when the independent clause is here. Am I clear? Yes? Okay, so are we clear about the complex sentences here? Right? Okay. Now, very interesting one, compound complex sentences. And majorly, I feel when we are speaking and we are writing, we majorly tend to make compound complex sentences. Right? Where we have two sentences, right, independent, and we just go on and on and on. Just think about it. If there are two independent clauses and one dependent clause, the sentence will be long, right? And we tend to make long sentences. For some reason we do. Right? So, okay. So let's look at the example here. When I saw a lion. I was scared and I ran away. Okay. When I saw a lion, I was scared and I ran away. Right? So there is one dependent clause and two independent clauses here. I was scared and I ran away. So if I remove and here, this becomes one clause and this one becomes another clause. And this one is the dependent clause, considering this also starts from when. Right? Yes? Understood? Right? So this is kind of mix of everything here. Let's look at one more example so that it's better and it's clear to you guys. I will pick up the example from what I was using earlier. I am driving the car. I am driving the car and I am stuck in traffic. I am driving the car. I am stuck in traffic because of the red signal. Let's make it even better. Because of the accident. Right? Right? Can you see this? Right? I am driving the car. I am stuck in traffic because of the accident. Where did this accident happen? This accident happened on the road. Probably, yes. Right? So this is a dependent clause again, and these two are independent. Clear? Yes? Okay. So again, coming back to PPT, let's quickly have a Okay, look at these sentences and you have to identify which is a simple sentence, which is complex, which is compound, and which is compound complex. Okay, can we start discussing? The student wiped that whiteboard that was filthy with last week's notes. What is this? The students wiped that whiteboard that was filthy with last week's notes. Is it a complex sentence because it has dependent clauses? Yes? Right? Okay. Now, next, wicked Regina cast a spell on the entire city, so the citizens decided to rebel. Now, do you think this one has two independent clauses? Wicked Regina cast a spell on the entire city, and the other is the citizens decided to rebel. So two independent clauses means compound sentences. While waiting for the paint to dry, Angela went to the Home Depot and Martin organized the kitchen appliances. This is what? Do you think this is the compound complex? Yes? Do you think so? This one has two independent clauses and one dependent. While waiting for the paint to dry is the dependent one. Angela went to the Home Depot is one independent clause. Martin organized the kitchen appliances is the next independent clause here. Right? After the teacher chose groups, John and Sarah were selected as partners for the project, yet Sarah did most of the work. This is again a compound complex here, right? John and Sarah were selected as partners for the project is one independent clause. Sarah did most of the work is second dependent clause. The third one, which is while waiting for the paint to dry, is the dependent clause. The woman who taught economics was fired for stealing school supplies. Right? This is a simple sentence. We have a simple information, right? After the two soccer players lost their game, they joined their other teams for lunch and they went to the movies. Again, a compound complex. The shoplifters have stolen, so he ran once he saw the police. Right? This is what? This is a compound sentence because there are two independent clauses here. Megha and Rohit ate too much and felt sick. This is simple. Right? Are we clear? Are we clear about the sentences here based on functions and structures? Right? I don't want you to complex this entire topic here. Right? Simply just understand what is the structure, what is the function of a sentence, how they are different from each other, how you can see that how we can differentiate it. Right? In terms of function, you first look at of course, the ends, the question mark, full stop, exclamatory mark. Then you look at the structure here. Right? Like, by structure, I mean, don't confuse yourself. By structure, I mean how the words are placed, and how they are placed together and what do they mean. Yes? Okay. And what message are they trying to convey? Right? And if you guys got all correct, please mention it in your comment box. I will keep reading it side by side. Okay. So, and in terms of structure, you need to understand it, how you can structure a sentence, how you can use dependent clause, how you can use independent clause, and how you can join two independent clauses together and how you can add one dependent clause to it, right? If you understand that how independent clauses can be used together, or how with one independent clause, a dependent clause can be used, with two independent clauses, how a dependent clause can be used. If you understand this entire lecture that I have, maybe from past 1 hour that I am doing, you will improve your writing skills, right? You will know where to use comma, you will know where to use conjunctions, you will know how to connect. And if you feel that sentences cannot be connected together, or maybe you don't know how to connect them, please make them two simple sentences. At least the sentence should be correct, right? Even if you don't want to make it a compound sentence, complex sentence, or compound complex sentence, make sure that you make simple sentences. And you can always start with simple sentences first. Like, short, simple sentences. Don't make too long sentences. Because if you are quickly jumping into compound complex sentence, there are chances that your sentence and your message is lost in between, right? Grammatically, it might be wrong somewhere. Maybe the usage of verb is wrong. Maybe your conjunction is wrong. And if your conjunction is wrong, please let me tell you this. If your conjunction is wrong, if your joining word is wrong, if you're using a wrong relative pronoun here, the entire sentence would change. Okay, the entire meaning of the sentence would change, right? For example, if I'm trying to say here, I will pick up the examples that I've already done it, right? When I saw lion, I ran away, right? I was scared and I ran away, right? But if I say, when I saw the lion, I was scared, but I ran away. Does it make sense? No. Of course, I was scared, so I ran away. They are two similar things, right? They're similar emotions. But I will not use but here, right? Because I am not talking about contradictory things here, or I'm not talking about something different here. Of course, somebody who is scared, the person is probably would do that, right? The person would just run away, right? So I use and here, right? Because it's a similar thought, right? But if I use but here, yet here, the entire meaning changes, right? And my sentence structure will be wrong because I am not able to convey what I'm actually feeling here. Clear? Yes? Are we clear with types of sentences here? Right? Okay, I will be quickly starting with my favorite topic, active-passive voice, right? But before that, for 1 or 2 minutes, let me just take up your queries quickly so that we close this in a good note and that we don't have to come back again. Sahilraj, are you telling me or are you asking me that if the sentence is compound or not? It is a compound complex. I'm glad to see many of you have got all correct. What is the difference between structure and function? Structure, like I told you in compound complex, like when we were studying about simple compound complex and complex sentences. If you have noticed, like what I was saying was, that in this sentence, we will have 2 independent clauses. In this sentence, we will have 1 dependent and 2 independent. So this is the structure, right? Function is what the sentence is trying to say. Is the sentence trying to give you information? If the sentence is asking you a question, if a sentence is an order, advice, suggestion, whatever request, what it is. So that is a function, right? So that is the difference, and this is why we kind of categorize the sentences into first 2 parts and then we have 4 parts each. Right. I hope I have answered the question correctly. You got what I'm trying to say here. Okay, somebody has asked me, there is one sentence, I don't know which sentence are you talking about, but you are saying that there is and in between, so how it can be simple, right? Good question, and it's a very tricky thing. Look at the board here. I ate chips and chocolate, right? There is and here. Right? But this does not mean that this is a compound sentence. Right? Here, the use of and is different. Here, I am joining the words, not sentences. Right? Not phrases, not the group of words. Right? So here, this and is totally different. It is joining 2, it's building a relationship between 2 words here, not group of words. Right, so don't confuse. You have to read and understand and then find out what it is. Writing sessions not included in live virtuals? No, you will have writing sessions. Hari Priya, you've asked me, can you please explain tenses also, because I have some doubts in tenses. No, tenses is not really part of, primarily not as a separate topic of your course material, and it's altogether a very different session. But when I'm doing active passive voice, I will try to tell you a little bit. I will try to tell you what is the difference between all the tenses, right? But no, I cannot start with the tenses altogether because tenses will take a lot of time, and that's totally different topic from your course material and for what your exam is going to focus on. Neha, you've asked me to explain compound. Okay, there are kids who have asked me about compound and compound complex sentences here. I hope when I was discussing the examples, it was clear to you, right? Why don't you guys read it once from your course material and look at the PPT? Because it might be confusing the first start, but when you're practicing, it will become a little easier for you, right? If you still don't get it, let me know. I will again take it up in the next class, right? Somebody was asking me about conjunctions. Please look at my first PPT. There was this one picture of 8 parts of speech. I hope that will make it clear for you, right? What are conjunctions and how they are used. For more examples of complex and complex compound sentences, I think it would be better if if I share a PPT or maybe subsample questions and we discuss in the next class or maybe towards the end of my sessions, right? Because there's no point that only I am writing it on the board. You have to practice, you have to sit down with it and understand a little bit what I have just said it, and then we'll discuss it, because then you will know where you are lacking or maybe where you did not actually understand, right? What is the problem? And for the types of sentences, you should also be very clear with your clauses, right? Again, I hope you have gone through my first PPT. The clauses were explained on that. And many of you have asked me about independent clause and main clause, the explanation, subordinate clauses. I have told everyone to refer to the PPT. The explanation is given with examples. What is indirect sentence? There are some students who are writing indirect sentence. I don't know. Okay, so let's start with our next session, which is active and passive. Okay. So active and passive, again, you have to listen to me very carefully here. Okay. Now, what is active and passive voice? Okay. What is an active passive voice? Voice is basically a reference to the connection between the subject and the object of the sentence. Okay. So voice is basically in which direction are we moving and how the verb has been used and how the connection between the subject and the object has been linked. Right? That is called voice here. Right? And voices are of 2 types. One is active, of course, and one is passive. Right? In active voice, we know who is the doer of the action. Right? We know that who did the action. We are very clear about what has happened, who has done it, and what exactly has happened. Right? But in passive voice, we have a very different focus. In passive voice, we focus on what has been done. Our focus is not the doer. Our focus is not about who has done it. Our focus is on what has been done. Right? Okay. Are we getting something here? Okay. Look at this very basic example here. Tom kicked the ball. Okay. Now we know the subject here. Who is the subject here? Tom. Right? Who kicked the ball? Tom. Right? So Tom is the subject here, and Tom is also a doer here. You know what doer is? Who does the action? Right? So, Tom. Right? Now what action has been taken place is kicking. Right? Yes? Oh, let's make it more simpler. Tom kicks the ball. So kick is the action that takes place here. Right? And who is the receiver of the action? And who is the object in the sentences? The ball. So ball is the receiver plus an object on this sentence. Right? All clear? This is a simple sentence. Tom kicks the ball. Right? Right? There's nothing complicated here. I'm going to erase this so that I'm going to write another sentence here. Now look here very carefully. The ball is kicked by Tom. The ball is kicked by Tom. Right? The meaning changes. What we are trying to say here completely changes here. Yes. Now who is the focus here? Our focus is the ball here. Our focus is not the Tom. Our focus is the ball. Right? Yes. So, and the one who has done the action, the doer becomes an object here. Right? So our focus is the ball. The ball is a subject here, and the doer becomes the object here. Right? Now, that is the major difference between two voices here. This one is called active voice. Right? And this one is passive voice. Right? So how you change from active to passive? In passive voice, the object becomes the focus and becomes the subject. Right? And your subject, the doer, becomes the receiver here. Right? An object here. Not receiver, but object here. Our focus in passive changes completely from Tom to the ball. In active voice, our focus is on what Tom has done. But our focus in this passive voice is on whom the action has been done. Right? That is the ball here. Clear? Yes. So that is the difference between active and passive here. The focus changes, the entire sentence construction changes here. I will be quickly discussing what is sentence construction here. So please listen to me very carefully. This is just a one-time thing. If you understand it in one go, trust me, you will not face any problem. Okay? Okay. Look at one more example here, and then we will be talking about different structures. Tia drives the car. Okay, so Sia is the doer here and Sia is the subject here. Right? Can you change this to, quickly, can you change this to passive? Based on my last example, can you try changing this from active to passive here? If you can't, just write down no. I have not received any response. Okay, I will be writing it here, or probably you guys are still writing. So Sia drives the car, right? Oh great, I have got many responses here. Ankit, you are right here. The car is driven by Sia. Yes, so the correct answer is, I think I just got one correct answer. So the car is driven by the car, by Sia. Sorry, okay. The car is driven by Sia. Simple. Now, Sia becomes object here, the object becomes subject here, the car, right? And how do we change this, right? How this thing changes, right? This we will be discussing through a PPT so that it's clarified to you in a better way, right? Quickly, let's look at your PPT. So can we have the screen to 50-50 now? Okay, so difference between active and passive voice that I've already told you. In active voice, we know the subject of the sentences are doing the action, right? In passive voice, the action is done upon the subject, right? Tom kicks the ball is kicked by Tom. So the action is happening on the ball. The doer of the action is followed by the verb. In active voice, the doer of the action is followed by the verb. That means the doer comes first and then the verb comes, right? In passive voice, the doer of the action comes after the verb. When you look at the placing of the words in a sentence, the receiver of the action is preceded by the verb, of course. So the receiver of the action is, yes, and doer of the action is followed by the verb. So the meaning can be confusing and meaning is clear. Okay, look at this example here. Monkeys adores bananas. Right? Simple. When you change to passive voice, how would you do it? Bananas are adored by monkeys. Right? Adores changes to are adored by. Okay? The money was counted by the cashier. Right? The cashier counted the money. So the active is the cashier counted the money. Right? Who's the doer in the sentences? The cashier. Right? And in the passive voice, our focus is on money, that who counted the money. So the money was counted by the cashier. Third sentence, the dog chased the squirrel. The doer of the action is the dog. The action is chased. Who is the receiver of the action? The squirrel. In passive voice, we change it completely to a focus to squirrel. The squirrel was chased by the dog. Clear? Right? So how do we do this? If you look at this sentence, drives is a simple present form of the works, simple present form. In case of simple present form, what we do is, based on the number and based on the subject, we add is, am or are, right? Plus V3. V3 means third form of the verb. You know that verbs have three forms. The irregular verbs have three forms. Simple present, past participle, yes, and the participle form. The V3 form is this. Base form, present form, and the past participle, right? So the past participle is the V3. Please take the note of this. No matter in what tense we are changing from active to passive. in passive form, we always use the V3 form of the verb, right? What I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't matter what we are using here. This will change according to the tense. This will change according to the number of people in a sentence, right? But in passive form, we will always use the third form of the verb. I would suggest you guys, please download a verbs list from internet and go through all the verbs and please see which is the third form of the verb, which is the base form and which is the third form, right? Okay, right. And then we add by here. So by, why we add a preposition here? We add a preposition here to tell the who is the doer of the action, because the doer of the action has been taken to the object place. Alright, so it's important to add by here so that we can clarify the action was done by the object. Clear? Yes. Right, so this is the basic format from changing from active to passive here. Am I clear, guys? Right, you will get more clarity if you look at this table. If you look at, I have divided the table into 3 parts, right? Tense, active voice and passive voice, right? And I have taken one example so that it's easier for you all to understand, right? That how changes are happening, right? Okay, first and foremost, who will tell me that all the 3 forms of the verb eat? So eat is the first form, second form is ate, and then we have eaten, third form. Right? Sorted. Now we know it's eat, ate and eaten. Right? Look at the simple present form of sentence here. Julia eats the chocolate. Right? I will be writing the structures on board that how we have changed it from active to passive. Right? So if you want to note down, you can note it down from the board. Right? I will try to make it, write it quite big so that you can understand what I'm writing here. Alright. Julia eats the chocolate. Simple. The chocolate is eaten by Julia. I have already told you in terms of simple present, when there is a simple present form use, right? Eats. They eat. They sing. He dances. Right? These are all simple present forms. Right? And we're talking about something that is happening or maybe that happens usually, it's as a matter of habit. Right? So Julia eats chocolate. She likes to eat chocolate, so she eats chocolate. Right? And now in simple present form, how do we change from active to passive? We add is, am, are, I already told you, plus V3. V3 is the third form. And then we add by. Are we clear? Yes? Yes? Okay. Next. Julia is eating the chocolate. Now this is a present continuous tense. By present continuous tense means is the action is happening right now. Julia is eating the chocolate. Right? Now how will you say it in a passive form? Because in passive form you want to focus on the chocolate, not on Julia. Right? So passive form, how will you answer here? Look at this. Julia is eating the chocolate. So we will pick is as it is from here. Yes. If there was are, we would have picked are. Again, the rule remains the same. Am is are. Right? We will add being here since it's a present continuous tense here. Being. Plus V3 plus by. Okay, this is the formation that you should know when you are changing a sentence in present continuous from active to passive. Clear? Okay, present perfect tense. Present perfect tense means something that has just happened. I mean, it's not, it did not happen long time ago, but it just happened, right? Julia has eaten the chocolate. Right? Julia has eaten the chocolate. In present perfect tense, we add has and have, has or have, depending on the number. Has is with the singular, have is with the plural. I told you this in the last class. Right? So in present perfect sentences, we add has or have. Right? Now, if you're changing from active to passive, how the change will happen. And also, in present perfect tense, whenever you're using has or have, anyway you are using third form of the verb. So you will have to slightly change from passive. Now, has will remain as it is, has, right? Now you will use a third form of be here. That is been. Right? B3 plus by. You know, just the way you used to memorize the charts in science and all, right? So you should be able to memorize this also to avoid confusions. If you understand it, very good, right? Because if you have to practice this a lot, right? But if you don't practice, please remember these structures while changing the sentences from active to passive, right? So in present perfect is has, been, V3 and by, right? And then the object comes here and subject comes here, right? Clear? Yes. Subject, and after by you add the object. Clear? Can I move ahead? Can I start with the past tense also? We just have 5 minutes left. Okay, Julia ate the chocolate, right? In terms of simple past, now she's already eaten. Like maybe she had it like some minutes ago and few hours ago. So the action had happened in past. So we used ate here instead of eats, eating or eaten here. Ate is a simple past form of the verb, right? Now, when there is a simple past that starts, right? What is the past tense of am and is? Was. What is the past tense of are? Were. So here we will use was because we are talking about one chocolate here. The chocolate was eaten, V3 form of the verb, plus by. Clear? Yes. So in terms of simple past, this is how we change the sentence. The tense of the situation will not change, right? What we are changing here is we are changing the voice of the sentence. We are bringing our focus from object to, we are bringing our focus from the object of the active voice, right? And we are making the object as subject in the passive voice. But the tense will not change. If a sentence is said in the present tense, it will remain present. If the sentence is said in the past tense, it will remain past tense. If the sentence is said in the future tense form, it will remain future only, right? And this is how we change it. Fine? Yes? Okay. Last, I will finish the past tense right now. Past perfect. Had eaten. Julia had eaten. So this will become, had will remain had, right? We will use been here and we will use B3 form here and then by. Remember in present perfect also we used been. So in the perfect forms we use be. Here present, past, future, whatever. Right? In the perfect form we will use this. Be, right? And B3. In past continuous, Julia was eating the chocolate. Right? Was remains was. Being is added and B3 form and by. Now, remember I told you in present continuous also we use be. So being remains the same in continuous form. Right? B3 is common for all the forms. Am I clear here? Yes? Okay. I hope we got a little bit till here. Right? Now I have to take up some of your queries also before I leave. On Monday I will be finishing this. Please do not be scared while doing active passive voice. Yes, this takes a little time to sink in, but eventually you will learn it. Yes, you will get it through, and this is not very difficult, trust me. You just need to know, and I find making these tables very enjoyable. You can try this at home also. Just the way I have made tables, right? You can pick one simple sentence. Like, I run in the park. Like, I run in the park, right? So, or maybe you can say, I cooked food, right? Anything. Just pick up one simple sentence and try to change from active to passive in every text. Right? This is quite enjoyable to it. So you can take an example from this table and then you can try to change it. Rest I will be sharing and I will discuss it again tomorrow itself on Monday. So we have a class next on Monday. So in the next class I will be discussing and then I will be starting with indirect and direct speech. Right? Yes, I promised you in the last class that I will be giving you a worksheet. I did not give you because there were a lot of confusion. So be short that today I will be uploading a worksheet, very simple worksheet. And we will be discussing this and I will try to add active passive few basic sentences also so that you can practice. Right? And if you want to send me the response, you can send it to ICAI. Otherwise, I will be discussing it on next class. Okay, quickly your queries. Yes, I told you. Can a sentence of active voices in the form of present continuous? I told you, active voice can be in every tense. Yeah, it is in every tense. I already made it clear. No, Rishka, we don't always use active voice because, yes, using active voice is good because it makes your message clear and concise. But at times you use passive voice also. So if you see in newspaper headlines, it is passive voice because they are focusing on what has been done rather than what has been done. Right? Or who has done. So whenever you want to focus on what has been done, you use passive voice. Right? Whenever you want to focus on some mistake has been done. Right? You don't know who has done it. But you just say a mistake has been done. So you're focusing on mistake, not who has done it. Right? You want to convey that there is something wrong. So you use passive voice also a lot, but you have to use it very carefully so that you don't confuse the other person. Not always. Yes, we use byword. There's someone who said it, do we always use byword? No, byword is not always, not always. Yes, initially we use by, but according to sentences at times, for example, let's say the mistake has been done. I am not adding object here. I don't know who has done it, so I am not adding by here. Okay. How can we send our queries or answers, ma'am? I think you will have to get in touch with the ICAI staff. Or maybe I'll figure out and let you know, guys. Don't worry, if there is any confusion, we will be discussing this again on Monday. I'm glad that you also responded to 3 forms of eat. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for today's class. Thank you so much for staying with me. And for the rest of your queries, I will be, of course, sending the answers to you. You can upload it or you can download it from your student link ID. And so active passive voice, we will discuss it again in the next class. Alright, so you stay safe and you can start practicing and let me know in your next class what are your problems and where are you getting stuck. And also tell me about the things that are clear to you. And if today's class was good, please fill in the feedback form. That is quite important. Okay, thank you and have a great day ahead.